Hi guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing the next part of what if Broly was raised by Frieza. And I haven't touched this what if for a while. Probably been 3 months, maybe 4, I'm not too sure what the timing is like when this video will come out. And there was a few reasons behind this. First of all, I couldn't even think of a good idea of how to do the Boost Saga. It's a pretty hard saga to do most of the time if you've got stronger characters, as the conditions won't really match up to do the Boost Saga. I try to do it as much as possible, but it can be annoying here and there. And the second part was the last few parts of this what if was it didn't do too great, to put it lightly, and I thought I could leave it be until I could do something very interesting with it. And inspiration struck one day, and I think I've got it to a pretty interesting point. This part will be shorter than most of my other what ifs, mostly because I was working on a very short timer when I was writing this part, and the day I'm recording this is pretty close to when I normally upload things, so I'm a little bit behind schedule. I do apologise. With that being said, I hope everyone likes what I've done, and let's get going. We join our heroes a few weeks after the battle with Cell, where we see the time travelers heading back to their own timeline, and thanks for all the training they get and everything they went through, they're easily strong enough to defeat the androids, and they start rebuilding their future. Now we join our main timeline, where we see Goku having mastered Super Saiyan a couple months after the Battle of Cell, with him already planning his next move, with him collecting Broly and Gohan one day, where he shares it, saying how he wants to try and combine the power of Super Saiyan with the power of Ikari. Both hearing this believe it to be actually a pretty decent plan, and they at least want to try it out. But Broly wants to wait a little bit. He wants to make sure that if he was to lose himself, they would be able to stop him. The pair understand this, and Goku and Gohan spend a few weeks trying to combine the two forms, but with no luck at all. And they can't figure out why it is. Their forms are very similar, as it is, but for some reason they don't want to combine, and they can't figure out why. So after trying for a little bit longer, they eventually decide that maybe it's not possible. But they do think to at least have Broly attempt it once. There's no harm that can happen from this. So with some convincing, and the possibility that it might not actually work, Broly does try to combine the two forms, but to make sure everything goes down smoothly. And if Broly was to lose control, he tells Goku and Gohan to make sure that Zarbon and Piccolo are also present. If they could get the androids in easily, they would, but 17 and 16 have been off the grid for a while, and Krillin and 18 are currently, well, in their honeymoon phases, so it's pretty difficult to get hold of them. With that being said, one day when everyone is ready, both Goku and Gohan jump up to their Super Saiyan forms, just in preparation, as Broly tries combining the two forms. At first, he tries and doesn't have any success, but after a little bit more pushing, he eventually has a massive increase in power. His hair changes colour, his aura gets more intense, as the group watch on for a few seconds as Broly's power continues to increase a massive amount. Eventually, he turns around and looks towards the group, and everyone can see that the Saiyan has control over this state. Of course, it doesn't seem like it's easy for him, Broly seeming physically uncomfortable while also holding his head. The Saiyan says how he can feel a rage building up inside of himself, but for the most part he can control it. He's still in the driving seat. Goku is happy to see this worked, and is looking forward to start trying it for himself, as Broly begins to think how he can improve upon this, trying to figure out how he can make it so this rage he's feeling now is kept to an absolute minimum. As he starts going through all of this in his head, Broly starts to lose himself slightly. They can see he's straining a lot more, and they can see his eyes ever so slightly whiting out. Zarbon shouts out for Broly to power down, which he does, not being too drained thanks to both Ikari and Super Saiyan being mastered. Now, with that being said, Goku and Gohan are slightly confused at why it was so easy for Broly, and they try to figure out why this could be, as Piccolo believes he has the answer, explaining how the Ikari form was something discovered by Broly, and over the years they have learned that Broly is no normal Saiyan. So maybe the combination of a form that Broly found and the Super Saiyan state is something only he can do. Hearing this, both Goku and Gohan believe this could be the case, and Goku is bummed that this form he thought of might possibly not work. I'm going to give up easy, and the group spend the rest of the day training, with Goku still trying to combine the two forms. But he does have a backup plan if this doesn't work. Now, as we enter the 7-year time skip, things go by pretty smoothly. The Saiyans, Zarbon and Piccolo continue to train. Zarbon was quite happy not training, but once Riku, Broly's son, got to an age where he began to train, he got back into the habit of doing it. And Goten, much like his father, trains as well. Now Riku is someone I want to talk about. It's someone I didn't talk too much about in the last parts. Riku takes a few aspects from both of his parents. Of course, he has got a hybrid potential, with Broly's potential mixed in somewhat. He's also got his father's rage, something he can't control, but from a young age when they learn that he can't control it, Broly begins to teach him how to do so, spending many hours meditating with the boy, and also using the Ikari state to help him learn to control his rage. Super Saiyan is something that he can't quite do yet, but he plans to learn it soon. With Zarbon also helping out with any teaching that Riku goes through, becoming a grandfather figure for him. And for Riku's personality, a lot of the time he's very passive and a caring person, much like his mother when she's in her blue head state, and Broly when he's just being Broly. But it's when he transforms that blonde launches side makes an appearance. When Riku transforms, regardless of the state, whether it be Ikari, Super Saiyan, and that one time he went Ozaru, the kid is very confident and cocky. He's very loud and not like himself. When he's in his base state, he's very kind and caring, but once he transforms, he's very aggressive and doesn't really give a damn. Of course, at first this was believed to be just part of his Saiyan side showing, but as he got older, the group realises this is actually just blonde launch affecting Riku. It's quite funny, and the kid isn't unmanageable when he transforms, and is still very much a good person. He just takes on a very different personality. Now, with this all being said, Riku and Goten are friends, but instead of a duo, it's actually a trio, thanks to Trunks, the son of Yamcha and Bulma, being there. However, first of all, Trunks is a very different person. He's lost very much his arrogant, cocky side, and gained a bit more of a humble, cowardly side from Yamcha. And he's still got that rich kid status to him, but he's lost it, and he's also lost a lot of power thanks to him being human. As for Riku and Goten, they are very much sparring buddies, and thanks to Broly and Goku being pretty close, Riku and Goten see a lot of one another, and this leads to them building quite a good friendship. These two are much better behaved than Goten and Trunks are, since Riku's quiet and Goten's a very well behaved kid, meaning they just kind of help around whenever they need to, and don't often get into trouble. Even when Trunks is around, this version of Trunks isn't like his normal self, so he tends to just follow Goten's lead, who has taken a de facto leader status. Now, during these 7 years, Goku undergoes a few different steps of training. Near the start, after what happened with Broly, he does try again with the Super Ikari idea, but after a week of trying and realising he's going to have no luck, this is pretty much the confirmation he needed to understand what Piccolo had said is probably true. So he decides to move on to the next best thing, which is his idea to try and combine Super Saiyan with the Kaioken. Remember, Goku has been using the Kaioken a lot more since he combined it with the Ikari state, and he's got a much better mastery over it. So he does try this for a while, and he makes a good bit of progress. However, the form is much more dangerous than the Ikari Kaioken was, so Goku does back off it a little bit. It's not until that Gohan discovers Super Saiyan 2 that Goku finally finds where he wants to go. With Gohan finding this form, Goku spends time learning it, and eventually once he learns it, he and Gohan master it. But Goku can feel that there's something beyond this state, and he begins to work towards it, and when he finds it, he feels the incredible strength and works towards mastering it. Now, with this all being said, things mostly play out normal. Krillin and 18 still end up together, 17 and 16 disappear off into the wilderness becoming park rangers, Gohan eventually goes to Orange High, Star High, and things at the beginning of the Buu Saga play out very normal, with very small changes, with one of them being Mr. Satan isn't Earth's hero. But other than that, most things play out the same. And the other big change would be that Goku's alive, meaning Goten has received proper training. Now, with this being said, let's go to the tournament. Since things play out the same, everyone would end up going to it, with Videl still training under Gohan to learn how to fly after discovering his secret identity as the Great Saiyaman. The tournament would still happen. With them all entering, of course, we do have some different people here now. So we lost Vegeta but gained Broly, so Broly just takes his place. And Zarbon actually decides to take place in this tournament, wanting to buy his grandson something interesting. So we'll say that Zarbon replaces Pintar, just for fun of it. And before I get going into the real tournament, a quick covering over the kids division would just be fun. Now, the finals would be Riku versus Goten. Trunks would have made it to the semi-finals, so he made it further than his father ever would have. But then in the semi-finals he would have to face either Goten and Riku, and both are so much stronger than him, so he would lose. Now, the battle between Riku and Goten is close. Even though Riku can't use Super Saiyan, he still has amazing potential from being both Broly's offspring and a hybrid Saiyan. So his power is crazy. So with just Ikari, he's able to go toe-to-toe with a Goten who has mastered Super Saiyan. But I'm going to give the win to Goten here still. He is stronger than his canon counterpart, and thanks to his father being present, he trains much more seriously and has a much more polished fighting style. With this being the case, I believe he could just about pull out a win, with a ring out and not a victory. Now, once the tournament truly begins, Zarbon would win his battle against Krillin. It wouldn't be an easy fight, as Zarbon had slacked off a little bit, but so had Krillin. I will give Zarbon the edge and say that he wins without even transforming, but it was a close fight. Now, everything from that point would go normal, where Piccolo surrenders to Shin. Videl, unfortunately, goes down to Spopovich, and probably goes down worse, since her father isn't so famous, she might not be as strong. And eventually Gohan would show off his power to Kibito, leading to him getting his energy stolen from Spopovich and Yamu. Of course, Gohan here is a lot stronger, meaning they would get more energy if Shin had the ability to hold Gohan down. But the difference is Shin here can't hold this Gohan down. So, after a few seconds and absorbing half of Gohan's energy, they are forced away by him. Things begin to play out like normal, with Kibito healing up Gohan, but joining back with the group pretty fast since Gohan didn't lose as much. With things playing out pretty normal up to the point where Spopovich and Yamu give Babidi the energy, we'll say that Gohan, having had half of his energy stolen, gives about 50% towards Buu. With this being pretty impressive, the group watch on from a distance. Things go normal once again, Spopovich and Yamu are killed, and then Piccolo gets turned to stone alongside Krillin after Kibito is killed. This leads to the group of Goku, Broly, Gohan, Zarbon and Shin heading into the ship, where we see Pui Pui appear. Like normal, Zarbon is the one to deal with him, with him having to put a bit of effort towards it, but not too much. Next up is Yakon, who Goku deals with like normal, as the group head towards the next floor, where Gohan fights Dabura. And this Gohan is easily able to beat Dabura. He's playing around with him almost, but hardly giving any energy towards Babidi. And Babidi, seeing this, begins to panic, as he starts looking for someone to control. He searches through everyone's mind and eventually stumbles across something in the back of Broly's brain. Something hidden away, something that Broly has purposely hid away. It's his rage, and this is something that if Babidi can get hold of, he can control. So he starts trying to gain control over Broly, but the Saiyan feels this, and fights back, and over the years he has learnt how to hold off his rage when just hanging around. So it doesn't affect him at all. Babidi can tell he's going to need to somehow weaken Broly's mental fortitude, and begins to feel around to see if he can do that in any way. And this is where he learns of the connection between both Broly and Zarbon. With him seeing this, he decides that he needs to kill the Green One. He shares the information that he has with Dabura telepathically, as he tells Dabura to kill Zarbon. Of course, Dabura is confused and not sure how he will actually do that, but Babidi doesn't give him a plan, just telling him to figure it out. The battle goes on for a little while as Dabura eventually is put to the floor and is about to be killed by Gohan. And here Dabura begs for his life, offering to change his ways and to help them stop Babidi. He will even release the friends that he's turned to stone. Everyone is caught off guard by this, as they listen. Of course, Shin is against the idea, but Gohan isn't willing to kill someone if he can avoid it. So he powers down to Super Saiyan, where he still is stronger than Dabura, and tells him to release his friends. Dabura does so happily, as they feel the energy of Krillin and Piccolo move around after being released. For now, that's all everyone needed. They are at least willing to give him a chance. Deborah begins to thank everyone as he starts leading them down through the ship, trying to explain how he actually never wanted to be part of releasing this monster. He just wanted to live out his life as in the demon realm as the Demon King. The group listen and aren't sure how to feel about this. They almost kind of feel bad for him. And Babidi, who is listening in, isn't sure what's going on, and he's unsure if he's being betrayed by Deborah. Shortly after getting spared, Deborah leads them to the room with Boo's egg. Of course, Babidi is enraged seeing that Deborah betrayed him, as everyone gets ready to kill the wizard and also destroy the egg. But before anything can happen, Deborah falls to the back of the group. Thanks to being injured, no one finds this weird, and once he's back there, he spits a stone bullet at Zarbon, and before the group can react, Zarbon has fully been turned to stone. Broly goes to kill Deborah for doing this, but before he can, the Demon King smashes Zarbon into a million pieces. Everyone seeing this fires off an attack, killing Deborah. However, it's too late. Broly begins to grab his head and scream out in rage. He's desperately trying to fight back what's about to come, but he's not sure if he'll be able to. Everyone begins to try and talk to Broly, as Shin is confused as to what's happening. Babidi sees his opportunity and teleports away with the egg. He then begins to sing his chant and slowly take control over Broly. Eventually, Broly jumps up from his base state all the way to the Super Ikari, something he has mastered over the years. As he looks up, his eyes whitened out and an M appearing on his forehead. Shin knows what happens as he warns everyone, but before anything can happen, Broly sees Goku and grabs his head, smashing him into a nearby wall and then throwing him across the room. Gohan and Shin, seeing this, go to help, but Broly's too strong. A few quick attacks do damage massively to Gohan and Shin. Gohan desperately tries to defend Kai, even jumping up to Super Saiyan 2, trying to block every hit he can, but it's not enough. Broly is far too strong right now. After throwing Gohan across the room as well, he begins to beat into Shin. He tries his best to hold his own, but he can't do anything to Broly. Soon he's put on death's door as Broly goes to finish him, but before he can, the ground beneath him begins to shake violently as he turns around and something catches his attention. Broly looks over to see Goku screaming out, his aura going crazy as lightning strikes all around him, and after a few seconds, Goku completes his transformation into a Super Saiyan 3, the form he had been working for all these years. This is his best bet at defeating Broly when he goes enraged, and Goku's hoping that all this training has finally paid off. This form has been better adjusted for using in the living world with a living body, and Broly sees this, charges towards the Saiyan. Thanks to the massive increase Super Saiyan 3 gives, it's able to hold off Broly a lot better. However, it's clear that Goku is still the weaker fighter in this fight, and is hardly able to keep up with Broly. Gohan is powering up to Super Saiyan 2, and then Goku shouts out to get Gohan and the Kai out of here. Gohan's confused for a second before he feels a sharp pain in the back of the neck as he falls to the ground unconscious. Goku thanks Piccolo telepathically, and Mekiun explains how he'll drop these two off at the lookout, and then he'll start coming back with some sensu beans. Goku screams out no, as he shouts for Piccolo to go and collect the Dragon Balls and bring back Zarbon and everyone else killed. Hopefully this way it'll snap Broly out of his rage. Piccolo understands as he flies off with the limp body of Gohan as Krillin carries Shin, who is hardly alive. The Kai is slowly waking up but is incomprehensible at the moment, and Krillin senses the battle, asking if the planet can withstand everything that's happening. Piccolo responds how he believes it can, but they need to bring Zarbon back fast, otherwise Broly might enter a new plateau of power. With Goku hardly keeping up with him now, if he was to get any stronger, the world would be screwed. With Krillin understanding, they pick up the speed, and just when they arrive at Kami's lookout, they feel the energy of Buu awaken, and now they are really unsure of the fate of this planet. But that's where I'm leaving this part. Sorry it's very short and doesn't cover a lot, but I needed to do a short part. I do hope people understand. I hope people enjoy this, and I don't really know what to say here. I hope people enjoyed, and yeah, I hope you all have a good day and a good night, and let me know if you want to see this come back. I need to get into the habit of doing like goals and whatnot, but that's effort. Anyway, hope you all have a good day and a good night.